All right, so today we're going to take a peek at a $975,000 Riverside retreat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to at least see what that looks like?
Yeah, you're telling me.
So this all comes from a local news piece from HastingsNow.com. And it's about a realtor open house. But, what we're going to do is we're going to go behind the scenes and kind of figure out what's the thinking here with real estate agents. How do they sell these high-end luxury homes?
Well, it's definitely a different market when you're dealing at that price point for sure.
Totally. And this one is in Hastings, Minnesota, right on the Mississippi River. They've got over 2.5 acres of land, a dock, it's really the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and in newer construction too, built in 2000. So it's got that modern feel that a lot of those buyers are probably looking for.
Okay, so this place is incredible, right? But how do you actually get people to drop, almost $1 million on this property? What's the strategy?
Right, it takes a little bit more than just putting up a for sale sign.
Right. So the article goes into this strategy used by the Lundby Hill Team, and they held a realtor open house, or what they call a broker's open. So it's for realtors.
That's interesting.
And when I first read that, I thought, why all the fuss over a realtor open house?
Well, think about it this way. It's not for the general public at that point. It's basically just a networking event for these realtors.
Okay.
They're the ones with the network of buyers that would even be able to afford a property like this. So why not target them specifically?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it's a lot easier than, hoping that that kind of buyer is going to just see it online.
Right.
And this particular team, they use the MLS to target these people as part of their strategy.
Okay, so how does that work?
Yeah.
The MLS, I mean, how are they finding the right people for this?
So they're strategic about it. They don't just send it to every realtor in the state. They filtered for agents who had handled similar properties. So high-end waterfront properties over $700,000 within 30 miles of Hastings.
Wow, so it's really laser focused.
Exactly. They're finding agents that have clients that want this type of property. And actually, they even reached out to agents in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Oh, so a little bit further out.
Yeah, so a little bit outside of that 30-mile radius, but, still accessible and probably where the buyer might be coming from anyway.
Right, makes sense.
So it's all very business-oriented, but you don't want to forget that, these open houses, they need to be enjoyable for everyone there.
Right, you don't want to have too stuffy of an atmosphere.
Yeah, you want to make those realtors feel good so that they go back to their clients and say, hey, you got to see this place.
Right, and I did notice in the article that they mentioned that this team had HastingsNow.com.
Yeah.
They're taking professional photos for the listing?
Yeah, you don't usually see that many, and it's definitely going above and beyond, but again, it goes back to that high-end clientele.
Right, I see.
We'll get into that in just a little bit, but that's all part of creating that atmosphere and image of this type of luxury property.
Right, I get that.
It's all connected.
Yeah. So you're saying that if you put out like some fancy snacks at a realtor open house, that'll help sell $1 million home?
Well, I mean, it's not just about the snacks, but yeah, I mean, creating a certain atmosphere at these things can go a long way.
Okay, what do you mean?
So, these realtors are coming in and you want them to feel good, right? You want them to associate this property with like relaxation, a sense of luxury, good taste, all that.
So they'll be more likely to, tell their clients about it.
Exactly. Because, these agents are looking at houses all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
You want them to remember this one and not just remember the house itself, but remember how it made them feel.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And, those professional photos probably play part in that too.
Absolutely. Remember those photos we talked about from HastingsNow.com? It might seem like a lot, but it's all strategic.
Right.
You have to remember who they're trying to reach with this listing. These buyers, they're not just looking for a place to live, they're looking for a certain lifestyle.
So like you were saying before, you really have to cater to that high-end market.
Exactly. And those high-quality photos, they really help sell that image of luxury.
So I guess a couple of dark iPhone photos just aren't going to cut it.
Probably not. Think about it this way. When you're looking at listings online, what's the first thing you look at?
The photos, for sure.
Exactly. And when you're talking about a house at this price point, the quality of those photos really matters.
Because it makes it seem more exclusive.
Exactly. The people who could buy this house, they're used to a certain level of quality. And by putting in that extra effort with the photography, they're saying, hey, this property is worth it.
It's like they're saying, this house is so fancy, it deserves fancy photos.
Yeah, you could say that. But really, it's about creating a certain feeling from the open house to the online listing. Every little detail adds to that.
And in this case, it all adds up to luxury riverside retreat.
Exactly. Now, even though we're talking about the luxury market here, these ideas can really apply to any real estate transaction.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even if I'm not selling $1 million house, I still want my house to look good online.
Right. Because no matter what you're selling, you want to highlight the best parts of it.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's a beautiful view or a newly remodeled kitchen or whatever.
Yeah, it's all about getting those buyers excited to see more.
Exactly. Like they say on those cooking shows, you eat with your eyes first. It's the same with real estate.
So it sounds like we can learn a thing or two from these high-end real estate strategies, even if most of us aren't selling $1 million homes.
Oh, absolutely. Whether you're buying or selling it helps to understand, the psychology behind all of this.
It's like having a little secret advantage.
Yeah, and a big takeaway from all of this is how important it is to find the right audience.
Yeah.
The Lundby Hill team, they knew exactly who they wanted to reach with this property.
Right, they were going after those agents with clients who are ready to spend big bucks on a place like this.
Exactly. And they didn't waste any time trying to market it to just anyone.
Yeah.
And they used the MLS to do that.
Right, that was really key to their strategy.
It was. Now, they did reach a little further out geographically, though, like with those agents in Hudson.
Which I guess makes sense if you think about it. Someone looking for that perfect riverside spot might be willing to, cross state lines.
That's right. And it makes you wonder how well this kind of approach would work in other places, focusing on realtor open houses and that kind of networking.
That's a good point, because what works in one market might not work somewhere else.
Exactly. Real estate is really local.
I'm definitely feeling a lot more informed after this deep dive. Maybe even a little inspired.
Good. Because you know what they say, knowledge is power.
That's right. And speaking of power, if you want to see more of this incredible riverside property, make sure to check out the show notes for a link to those professional photos.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive.
No kidding. Well, that about wraps up this deep dive into the world of luxury real estate. Until next time, happy house hunting, everyone.